Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. She's Kim McAllister. I apologize. I had technical difficulties, and I think that's just because you let kids borrow your computer, and I made that mistake, and I shouldn't have made that mistake ever again. I'm not wearing headphones because that's all part of the technical difficulties, but whatever. I have my cocktail. I am here. You are here. Thank you for joining us.
I have a strawberry margarita tonight. You got your Maduro Mule?
Oh, everybody click that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It's a special, a very special day, Kim McAllister. Cheers to our very first American Pope. I know you're not religious.
Oh, yes, American
But
Pope.
history was made today, people. Cheers to Pope Leo.
I'll drink to that.
I'm telling you, I can't believe they chose the American over the Filipino. Everyone was hoping for the first Filipino Pope. Let me know in the comments if you guys are shocked.
Albert was a little bummed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know how you feel about it in the comments. And again, thank you everyone for being here. We are 100% crowdfunded. All the ways to support us: Patreon, PayPal, Super Chat, Super Stickers, all those ways. But when I first heard that we had a Pope, I was like, yeah, we have a Pope. And then I was like, it's an American? And my first thought was like, oh no, what kind of American? I was like, oh no.
A Trump American or a regular
I was like,
American?
oh no.
Yeah.
Is it? And that's an awful way of thinking about it. But I thought that way because I was like, shoot, if we're going to go down that road, you know what I mean? Like, is it going to be way conservative? And I'll say this, I'm going to be completely honest. If it's way too one or the other, right? It's just going to, because I'm going to tell you, people were really divisive over our last Pope too. He was very, quote unquote, according to the very conservatives, way too progressive. They didn't particularly like that. And apparently I do. Hold on. I have a pic. Let me, and I apologize. I don't have all my stuff up right now, but I do have, here he is, a pic of our new Pope. Here he is. That is our new Pope. And apparently
from the south side of Chicago.
He does not like JD Vance very much, which I like him very much. Apparently he doesn't tweet much, but in the tweets that he has done, he hasn't spoken very kindly. Well, he just kind of called out JD Vance. He said JD Vance is wrong because JD Vance had basically put out this list basically of how you are supposed to show your love, kind of the order, as they say, of loving people. And it was, he had argued that you love your family, then you love your neighbor, then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens. And then after that, you prioritize the rest of the world. And Robert Prevost, before he was the Pope, Leo, said JD Vance is wrong. Jesus does not ask us to rank our love for others. I think just calling out JD Vance by name. Now, he didn't do it as Pope, of course. He did not know he was going to be Pope when he did that. But you know that it's just going to draw all kind of MAGA people about it. Now, this is what I love, though. I want everyone that is Catholic especially to listen very closely to all of their conservative friends and how they speak about the new Pope. Because this is where the rubber meets the road, and as far as how people feel about their religion. Because this is, if there is ever, in my opinion, a pinnacle of hypocrisy when it comes to religion, it is when people talk about the Pope specifically, because the Pope is the symbol of the Catholic Church. Like, hands down, no argument, zero argument. And yet they will, and I'm using this big quote, they, political people, yada, 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 will politicize it in recent years. Okay. And I just want you guys all to listen very closely to how certain people, not all people, will pick and choose the things they will likely complain about. And they're often things that they shouldn't be complaining about. I mean, there are things that, like, if you were going to take Jesus and put that person in that spot, what do you expect the person to say? Right? What do you expect them to do? And so it's going to be so interesting to see how, they tie themselves up into knots, into not criticizing or just blatantly criticizing. Oh, I don't like this
Mhm.
pope. Oh, this pope is just too radical, too progressive. You're criticizing literally the person your church, your chosen religion chooses. You believe in this. If religion is not the rules you have chosen to believe in, then why be part of the religion at all? You don't get to pick and choose.
No.
Hence, why you are part of a religion. If you want to pick and choose, what is it all about then?
What do they call
Why
that?
even be part of it?
A cafeteria Catholic? Like you're going down the line, you just take what you want off the row?
Just choose what you want. I
Mhm.
mean, religion
Well, I
is
think
based on what on the
the
rites and the
tenets
rituals,
of
is it
religion.
not?
Well, I think a lot of Catholics, though, in my understanding, and tell me if I'm wrong, because you're the Catholic, not me, in this situation.
Right.
But I've heard and spoken with people that are Catholic that say just because, I'm Catholic doesn't necessarily mean I'm not pro-choice. That
Yeah.
I get to
Okay.
choose the tenets of, what I want from my religion. Maybe I like the whole thou shalt not kill thing. Maybe
Hmm.
I like the community of church on Sunday.
Of course.
Maybe I like the helping the poor, but
Hmm.
maybe I don't like the judgy part. Or maybe I
Yeah.
don't like the pro-life part or the judging people for making the choices they make in their lives. Maybe I
Right.
don't like that part. And so
Hmm.
in that way, there are people that are, as they say, cafeteria Catholics that pick and
Right.
choose the parts of the religion that seem the most palatable to them.
Yeah. And I understand that.
Mhm,
Um, and I think that that is what you would call like using this kind of loosely, like kind of
mhm.
not bad Catholics, but kind of like, you'd kind of put them in the basket of, not bad. I don't like to use that term, but like the Easter, Christmas Catholics, or
Sure. Yes.
there's just all different types of Catholics, right?
Mhm,
Sometimes I'll go to church on Sundays. I'll do it if my parents are on my back about it a lot,
mhm,
or I'll do the sacraments, but I'm not going to go all the time. Um, there's all. I think religion just carries a lot of weight for people,
mhm,
but when you're talking about the Pope, I think that is a totally different thing. Uh, you put stock into what this person symbolizes and the trust you put in the cardinals and the ritual in which it's done. And so if you don't even believe in that anymore, like, why bother? And that's my whole thing with religion, right?
mhm.
Like, why bother? Then just be a good freaking person then, right? Like that's my thing with
Girl, you're
religion.
preaching to my choir. I find all of
Like
religion
just be a good
hypocritical.
person,
Right. Yeah. If we're gonna
So,
believe in the Bible, but we're not gonna believe in some parts of the Bible, the parts of the Bible we feel are antiquated, the stoning of people and the treating of people in certain ways and the selling of people for slaves and all of these things that are in the Bible, then you either is it you just take what you want from it, like a cafeteria Bible, or you believe in the whole thing. What's it gonna
right.
be? Yeah.
But then you don't get to use religion as cover for some of your beliefs anymore.
Mhm.
And that's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
Then don't wage wars, don't crucify people, figuratively, of course,
Mhm.
for certain things based on religion anymore. Because if you're going to pick and choose, then you don't get to do that anymore. And that's my whole thing. And that's what drives me nuts about it. And this just holier than thou, unless it doesn't fit into what you want to believe. And
Mhm.
so show up for the free wine, stay for the bigotry and essay. Josh. Um, anyways, I like the new Pope, from what I've read so far. Um, he does seem to draw a lot of similarities with the late Pope Francis. Apparently, he was very close to Pope Francis.
Mhm.
As you know, or maybe don't know, Pope Francis lived a very, very humble life. If you read a lot about his funeral, he wanted nothing, right? He did not want any pomp and circumstance. He did not want like the 3 coffins or whatever. Like the guy wanted nothing. He didn't believe in that. He did not believe in all of the grandeur of being pope, which I think is how it should be, right? So, and I'm not looking down on popes that did do that. It's not something like that. But apparently he was close to Francis. I think people are very, very shocked that an American was chosen.
Mhm.
I am shocked that an
First
American was
time
chosen.
ever. It's his history-making moment.
It is
You know what?
huge.
I was looking into what I find fascinating, not being someone that's religious, but also, when the Pope comes out with a statement, I'm always reading it. Um, and I know that everyone around the world pays attention to what the Pope has to say.
Right.
And I was fascinated by a couple of different things today when we were introduced to this new Pope.
Uh-huh.
First, that his name, he chose it. It's Pope
Leo.
Leo the what is it, the 14th, the
Yeah.
16th, something. And Pope Leo, the name of the Pope is historically significant,
Hmm.
whether it's because there's been, what, 14 of them, I think, right?
Something
And
like that.
so
Yeah.
you look back in history at what the Leos, the popes that were named Leos, stood for,
Uh-huh.
and it kind of can give you the roadmap of where this Leo falls in history. Same with Francis, same for, Pius, same for Innocent, all the other names of the popes throughout history, that the name has historical significance on how they intend to, I don't want to say govern, but that's what they do, on how they intend
Right.
to pope, right? And so how they do their poping. The Pope's poping. It's all comes down to the name.
I love it.
One of one of the things that Leo in the past has stood for is the condemnation of wealthy owners and masters who sought to profit off the indigent and the
Mm.
destitute, and poor immigrants, women, capitalism, the concentration of wealth and power in the hands of the few. And this would indicate, contrary to what I had read earlier, that possibly this Pope may continue the work of Pope Francis. We
Yeah.
know that even though he was born and raised in the south side of Chicago, that he spent the last 20 years in Peru
Yeah.
working with a lot of migrants and a lot of people that are poor. And so the possibility exists, to me, it's likely that he's a friend of the immigrant and a
Oh,
friend of the
absolutely.
downtrodden. And
Mhm.
so, how do you not like that? I'm hopeful. It brings me hope that you have someone else in the world that will stand up for the little people.
But I mean, who wouldn't be? I mean, can you imagine a pope not being? You know what? I mean, they're like, I like the rich, the poor, suck it, right?
Well,
Like,
there have been popes that have been very hardline and very
yes, very
conservative in nature,
conservative, right?
where,
I
like,
can
the
understand
gay
that,
lifestyle is against the gospel
right?
teachings and all these things, and it remains to be seen because this pope has said things like that in the past. So we'll
Mhm.
see how he feels about,
Right. The
gays and
LGBTQ community.
LGBTQIQ community, what have you. I don't know. The choice of the name Leo, though, is supposed to parallel and complement the previous popes Francis, is what I'm reading. So
Oh,
we'll see. We'll see. And
interesting.
Pope Francis was a friend of the LGBTQ
Yeah,
community.
he
Yeah.
was. And I mean, he did say, there was this really famous conversation that he had with someone that was non-binary. And there was also another famous conversation, I'm talking about Pope Francis, that he had with someone whose father was an atheist. And Pope Francis was very famous for saying that everyone is God's children. Who am I to judge?
Mhm.
Right? He wasn't saying necessarily that, that the church in and of itself was okay for it, but just that we're just going to welcome and love everybody. And
Right.
I think that is really the message that Pope Francis wants to give. It'll be interesting to see if Pope Leo is going to do the same. Vanessa has an interesting question. Why do popes have to pick a new name as pope? It is done in the Catholic religion. So when you are confirmed, which is one of the sacraments, when you become Catholic, you choose a new name. Mine was Michelle when I had my confirmation.
What is that
Nuns
name
do it.
what is that name used for, Michelle?
You just choose it. You just choose a name. It's your confirmation name.
But
I
when
don't use it.
like,
I don't like
would it
it's not a legal document. You just when you're
did
confirmed, you
when you
choose
go to
another
church,
name.
is that what they call you? Or do if you're
No,
the father of the church was t the reverend or whatever was talking to you,
no, it's just
will
when
they
you're
call you
confirmed, they ask you to choose a new name,
okay,
a name, and it's just included.
yeah,
Nuns choose another name. So like Sister Mary Margaret, that's not their
mhm,
legal name, their birth name. That's their nun name. I don't know how you
sure,
call it. And then popes choose a new name. So it's like I don't know, it's like the name handed or that you give because you're born,
yeah.
to God, I guess, again, or something
Then
like
that's
that.
what I was thinking of. That's the other thing I wanted to tell you, that I found interesting today, is in the reporting of the new pope. I didn't
That's
see it.
funny,
What does it say?
John. It's your screen name for God chat.
That's really good.
That's
In
funny.
the introduction of Pope Leo, and when he came out onto the veranda or whatever they call it at the chapel,
Mhm,
the first words they said, and his first words were
mhm.
peace be unto you or something. And so
Right.
his first words, almost like he was born again, and these were the first words he's ever spoken.
Yeah.
Like he's never said anything before he becomes Pope, and he's reborn in this new form as Pope Leo the whatever. Sorry if that I don't know what number. And now like these are his first words, the first words he's ever uttered. And it almost sounded like being born again. So it's
Yeah,
interesting that you say
yeah.
that that's the same thing when you're confirmed and when nuns take a vow.
It's
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
the right word. It's like, yeah, it's a vow to God.
Mhm.
And again, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, all of this pomp, circumstance, rites, and rituals, and then you're gonna pick and choose? And then you're gonna criticize the Pope for believing what he believes? I mean, that's why I'm just so curious. And then we have the blessing of, their dear leader Donald Trump. And it's like
Mm.
he was very excited and surprised that the Pope was an American, and then somebody in the chat was saying, I don't think he's going to be happy for long. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. The Pope is 69 years old. So they don't ever really choose a young Pope, right? Because they don't want him. It's always a him. They don't want him to be Pope for very long. They don't. They don't want a young Pope. That's not how they like it.
Yeah.
They don't want the person to be Pope for long. And so
He's 69, right? Yeah.
69, yeah. So he's 69, and but that's not old, you know what I mean? So I don't it's very interesting. You know how the presidency ages you? I wonder how
Mhm.
much the papal job ages you. Like I mean, it's a lot of traveling. It's a lot of like
A
listening
lot
to
of
people's,
mhm. You always have to be
needs.
somewhere, be on, be doing something,
Yeah. I
be,
bet it's
like,
hard.
mellow and humble, and, you can
Yeah.
never just have a moment where you're like, "Oh, I hate the people." You can never have that moment where
Yeah, gotta get
you always
aggravated
have
at
to
some
be,
point.
like, in
The
Pope
papacy, yeah, the
persona.
papacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be exhausting,
Mhm.
right? It's like, tell me what you need, right? I mean, you're not, I mean, I'm assuming you're allowed to be human. You are
Yeah.
allowed to be human, but you're so sheltered and, I don't know. I would never want a job like that. If there was a job, I wouldn't
Yeah.
want to be president. When I was young, I want to be president of the United States. You can pay me to
Mhm.
be that. But being Pope, but then people like it must be weird to have a job where people believe that being touched by you could possibly heal them. I mean,
Wow.
imagine what that must feel like. That has to be kind of insane, you know? That's a lot of
Mhm.
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Heather's like, "I do a great job as an anti-pope."
I just love that. It isn't how long to be Pope, writes Tammy. It's about being in the world, gaining experience and wisdom.
He has a lot he's been around in the world. I mean, and like Kim was saying, I mean,
Mhm.
he's been in America, he's been in Peru, he knows tons
Mhm.
of languages. So he's able to communicate with pretty much
Latin,
everyone all around
Italian,
the world.
Spanish, English,
Yeah,
fluent.
fluent
Mhm.
in these languages.
Mhm.
So, I mean, definitely somebody that's not going to need an interpreter. And anybody that's, bilingual,
Oh.
trilingual knows that if you can communicate in the native tongue, you
Mhm.
could definitely reach people on a more, you know, uh, internal level.
Yeah. Interesting that Rhonda says my ex-husband's family did not give middle names at birth, that the
Oh,
middle
see?
names were taken at catechism. So
See?
then you
There
would
you
have
go.
been Nicole Michelle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And somebody was asking why. I mean, it was silly. We did it in 8th grade. The reason I chose Michelle, one, my brother's name is Michael. We have a
Mhm.
lot of that kind of stuff. And my best friend's middle name was Michelle. And so we were
Mhm.
kind of like, you just have to choose a name. I mean, how do you choose names?
It
You know what I
reminds
mean?
me of
Like,
what I used to name my Barbie.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't
My
know. You're just a kid. You're in 8th grade. How do you choose a name? You just
when I
choose it. So,
when I was playing with Barbies, my Barbie was named Victoria Wade because I always thought that sounded
yeah.
so sophisticated.
Right. So, so yeah, it'll be let's
Mm.
see it. I send my good energy to our new pope, and
Mhm.
yeah, I'm shocked as heck that he is an American. Let's see. So, let's get to the tariffs. Um Donald Trump, of course, is still on this trade deal. Apparently, with the UK, I don't know if we've made a deal. 10% tariffs on the UK.
Yeah.
10% stayed at 10%. Apparently, we've cut taxes on British cars, steel, and aluminum. I don't know if that means that we've made a deal or not, but whatever.
We have a
Apparently,
frame
things may be getting better there.
there's a framework for a deal.
There's a
They're
framework.
still
Yes.
hammering it out, but it looks
Yeah.
like we're celebrating the fact that we're all at the table and we're all making a deal.
But
And
then here's, yeah.
it looks like Trump has given up the farm. He's rolling back his trade things, and I don't know if we're going to come out of with any of benefit from this other than finally it will be over for the UK and the stress of their economy, but all the upheaval for really not much of a gain. Meh.
Exactly. Well, this guy, this entrepreneur, Ramon Van Meer, was on Fox News recently and did a little bit of a test. And this is what I really wanted to discuss today. And this is where the rubber meets the road when we're talking about this whole idea of the goal or the supposed goal of all these tariffs. And so he did a bit of a test with his made in America shower heads, and he wanted to see if
Mhm.
people actually wanted products made in America. So he's the founder of Athena, which sells a shower head that filters chemicals and stuff out of tap water.
Excellent.
They're made in China and Vietnam.
Wait,
And
what?
what?
I thought you said it was an American thing.
No, no, no. So he can make them in America. He
Okay.
wants to see. He makes them right now in China and Vietnam.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm with you.
So
I'm
he's
on board.
looking to make them all in America. Okay.
Okay.
So right now, it made out of China and Vietnam, $129. Okay. So, but with the cost of tariffs jumping 170%, he
Mhm.
wanted to test what would happen if it was 100% made in America. Okay.
How much does that
It would
cost?
cost, he said, something like almost $400 for the same shower head. Okay.
Mm.
$129 to, like, let's just say $400 for made in
Mhm.
America. So he put it on his website, made in America versus made in China, to see which one consumers would buy. 500 people or so bought the China one. Not one person bought the made in America.
If given a
Yeah,
choice.
if given a
So
choice.
here would have been the real
0.
test. The real test would have been to take the Chinese option away because he already has a baseline and he knows how many he sells that are made in China. Now just sell it for $400, the made in America version. Does anybody buy it? Don't give them the option for cheaper because if you tell me it's 120 bucks for this version and it's 400 for this version and by the way they're exactly the same, who's not going to pick the cheaper one
But
just
that
to
is
be
the point.
patriotic?
But that is the point.
But
That's what
if the only option available to filter out the toxins is the made in America for 400, I might have no choice but to buy the 400 one.
but that's not how people shop. That's not how people
Mm.
shop. I mean, you're asking for a scenario that doesn't exist. If I'm looking for a shower head, Kim,
Right.
I'm never given a scenario where I have one choice. I'm
Well,
always given options,
but
right?
all of the shower heads will now be more expensive because the tariffs will affect all of the shower heads that are made in these places where labor is cheap. and
Right.
parts are cheap. And
Exactly.
so with the tariffs, they're all expensive now. So $400 for this guy is the same as the next guy having to raise his prices and the next guy having to raise his prices.
It's just not possible. So this is what the guy said. And he's saying what literally all of us are saying. He
Yeah.
says in other countries, manufacturing plants can make thousands, in some cases, tens of thousands of units a day or week. They've been doing it for many years. They
Mhm.
have all the machinery, they have the workforce, versus in the United States, I'd have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
He could not find one single domestic manufacturer with the capacity to fill his company's monthly orders.
Wow.
He says, I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take possibly decades to build.
Mhm.
And another thing he says is he was on the Shark Tank and he had pitched like this cat litter. He said it could not even legally be manufactured in the US because our environmental regulations are too strict. So, like, all of these things, I don't think Trump obviously thinks about, right? He just
Mhm.
wants to snap his fingers and make it happen. But
Yeah.
going back to the price, I do not believe, and I'm going to say this out loud, I don't think that Americans actually really want to buy everything in America. I don't think that we do. I don't think we want things 100% made in America. I don't
I
think we want to buy it at that price. I
see,
do not think we
I
do.
think we do want things made in America, but I just think there's a limit to how much it means to us. So if you presented me with two items and one was made in China and it was $100 and one was made in America and it was $135,
It'll
I
never
might
be that.
I
It's
might
never going
pay
to be
the
that
extra
different,
$35 and I might go with the American made. But
but
if
it'll
you're
never be
talking
that.
about like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, then perhaps, all of a sudden my moral compass is a little jaded. And I'm looking at my pocketbook and thinking I really can't afford to pay an extra 300 just because if it's made in America.
It's always going to be
Yeah.
exponentially more expensive here. It's
Mhm.
never not going to be. At least not for decades. I don't I'm going to put my money right on it and say
Yeah.
it's never not there's no way it's going to be equal in price because we're an expensive
Right.
citizenry.
And
Like,
we want that. Like we
and we
don't
want
we
that
we
exactly.
complain about child slave labor making, tennis shoes in China, and we complain
Exactly.
about people making our iPhones in China that are, being
Right.
hurt by the minerals they're breathing in or whatever it is.
Mm,
And we like that in America that people make a living wage and they get health insurance and they get holidays off and they make a little more money and we like that. But then when it comes down to it and we're standing in front of the items, are we willing to like it enough to pay for it?
no.
Right?
No,
Yeah.
we're hypocrites. We're
Yeah.
hypocrites. We
Mhm.
are hypocrites. And that's my point. Is like, and Vanessa says, I don't want things made in America if it means we start paying a Chinese wages here.
Right.
Exactly. Uh, Tammy says most of our made in America are actually parts made in China put together in Ohio.
Exactly.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of people are saying. There are so many lawsuits and
Mhm.
legal wrangling over what it actually means to say made in America. Like, I sewed it together in America. Does that mean made in America? No.
Mhm.
I don't think that's what people are talking about. How many jobs does it have to mean to
Right.
create, this microphone?
Yeah.
If it's 50 jobs, can I say American jobs? Can I say it's made in America? You know?
Yeah.
So,
Teacher Lori has a formula she uses.
okay.
10% more, she says, I buy it made in the USA. More
Okay.
than 10%, I'm going the cheapest route, all other things being equal. And
I
that's it.
wonder what the math normally is though. You know? I mean, I
Yeah.
think I think shirts, clothing, I probably would buy more clothing in America, um, because it would last perhaps.
Mhm.
I would be harder to buy clothing in America, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
There
just
there are some things that I prefer to pay a little more for made in America. Like, when I was buying baby shampoo, you could get the
okay.
cheap baby shampoo and it had American standards, but it was probably made somewhere else. And it was, the not tough enough standards, or you could buy the made in Europe where they have
Right.
really high standards for health and not all the chemicals in it and all of these things. And so when I was looking at car seats and shampoo for my baby and all of these things where I wanted a healthier option,
Mhm.
I would pay a little bit more because of that to have it made in the EU or somewhere that had higher standards.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Yeah.
if you're putting it on your child, your brand new
Mhm.
baby, absolutely. But I wonder where the shampoo inside might be made in America, but I wonder where that bottle was made, that the
Yep.
plastic bottle that it's in, you know?
Mhm.
Um, it's also and it didn't happen overnight. Like all of this made in Vietnam, made in China, that didn't happen overnight. And switching it back as much as we want to isn't either. And so that's why what Trump is doing pisses me off so much is he's hurting so many Americans
Yeah.
when the goal, while I think in some ways, in some business areas we can improve on, right? That's great. It should have been done more methodically, and it's
Mhm.
not because he doesn't have anything between his head, you know? So that's that's the problem. And it's just and that's why it's pissing me off. And we're going to start feeling it.
Mhm.
CNN had this headline and it says the first boats carrying Chinese goods are arriving in LA and they're half full Expect shortages very soon
Yep.
inside our stores.
So what you're
I don't know
saying
what
to
that's going to
me
look
is
like.
that we should be buying Christmas presents now because they're gonna be a lot more later,
Yeah.
and the shelves will be bare, and it'll be hard to get things.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be giving gifts or if there's anything you need, now's the moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, pretty much. I
Mm.
mean, but then I hate that though. Well, the Port of LA had expected 80 ships to arrive this month. 20 of those have been canceled. Customers have already canceled 13 sailings for June. Um, and you already know what the holidays are like. God forbid there's one hot thing, and then it's even going to be even more in demand. You can already see retailers are already going to try to capitalize on this because it's America and we do that. Um, maybe
Can I
maybe this is the time where we just stop buying crap. But though you said this last week when we were talking
Yeah,
about the dolls, you know what? Maybe this is the year where it's I'm
yeah,
going on a trip. Maybe this is the year of experiences. Maybe this is the
right.
year where we throw our middle finger up at
Mhm.
products, and we're just like,
We
you know
rent
what?
a big house somewhere and celebrate on a trip, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe it's like, you know what? The store shelves can be
Mhm.
bare of products. I don't want it to be
Yeah.
bare of food,
No.
and things like that. Um,
God, where
but
do they make toilet paper? Are we gonna go through that again?
get your
Ugh.
bidet, get your bidet. I don't know how many times I have to tell you people this. Come on now.
Can I tell you
Mm.
that I saw this story earlier and it's crazy that Trump is saying that ports running empty is a good thing, that not a lot of port traffic in America is positive.
Of course he
How
thinks that.
exactly? It's
Mhm.
not positive. It's ridiculous. He said, yeah, we're seeing as a result that ports here in the US, the traffic is really slowed down now. Thousands of dock workers and truck drivers are worried about their job, according to one reporter in the Oval Office. That we means, said Trump, that we lose less money. When you say it's slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. What?
Why?
Because
What
he's
how
not
is he spinning that to
not
himself
the
in his
best and
mind?
brightest. What the reporter said is the dock workers are losing their jobs, are worried
Okay.
about their jobs. The truck drivers are worried about their jobs. Port traffic is slowing down, which means the pace of business and buying and selling in America and trade
Is
has
slowing
slowed
down.
down. So how is that a good thing?
I have no idea.
Trump says
I
it's good.
So
Says
that
this is
must mean
good.
that everyone's saying it's good. So if Trump says it, it's good. I saw this like meme, like, and I did we mention it yesterday? Did we mention it today? Where he's insisting the gas is $1.98 and nowhere in the whole entire country it's $1.98, right? And
It's
there's
more
this
expensive here than it's been in a while.
and whatever, but he's saying it
Mhm.
right, even though everyone knows he's lying. He just says these things, and there's this cartoon of this guy at the pump, and it's like $3 and something cents, and he's like, "It's $1.98," and it's like you're.
Like, when was the last time you've
It drives
been
me nuts. It's
When
so
was the
stupid.
last
They're
time
brainwashed.
Trump has been to the gas station or went to gasbuddy.com and looked for the cheapest option? When did that happen?
Like it's ridiculous, and people are like, "Oh, it's the." He's lying to you, and then he gets away with it. And and we can't be okay with it. People are like, oh, he just says whatever he says. He's the president of the freaking United States. He's bad. It's crazy and lies all the time. And because he's him, everyone's like, yeah, he lies. That's not okay. And we should always call it out every single time, because it's insane that he just gets to say the most asinine thing ever. But whatever. He's
Here's what it is in
absolutely
my town. The cheapest is $4.97. I've yet to see that. That's over at the gas outlet. But most of the time when I'm rolling around, it's $5.49, $5.39. This is how it looks
no.
in Petaluma. I don't know how it looks where you
Mine
are.
is around, I think I paid, well, I paid a lot because I was like I don't know, what was it? Shell. And so I
Mhm.
overpaid because I just needed gas. I think I could probably pay between 430 and
Wow.
480.
Your gas is so much cheaper than Petaluma. At the Shell over
Yeah.
here, it's $5.49. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could probably find it for 430 at one of the
You have
cheap, or
you have to go to
440.
the you have to go to the gas outlet where you have to really question what it is you're putting in your car in order to get under $4 or under $5.
Let me look up Gas
Yeah.
Buddy. I don't think I'm lying to you right now. Yeah, but again, I only fill up, thanks hybrid and no longer driving to San Francisco. Yeah, Moe's gas stop on Camden, 438.
Moe's.
Yeah, Moe's gas up,
What's
Camden
your
and something,
what's your zip code?
95124.
95124. Let's see how much gas is in the Medoro hood.
Yeah, 438. Cheap. Cheap, cheap. Well, I mean, cheap is relative. That's friggin' expensive. I hate saying 438, and other people around the country are like, Californians are insane. It's cheap
Oh,
for
here
us.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
429 they have.
Stargas. Oh, I know exactly where
428.
Stargas is. Stargas. Yeah, see?
Moe's, 428 at Moe's.
Oh, yours is cheaper than mine.
Hot
What
and
the hell?
Robbie's.
Your gas buddy's better than my gas buddy. What the hell?
Look at you. I
I
just
need
put
to
in your
update
zip
my
code.
gas buddy.
Wow.
Yeah, see?
I'm living in the wrong city, clearly.
Well, you're all fancy schmancy up in
Yeah.
Egg and Butter Town, so.
Yeah, they sell wine with gas up here, so and baguette and
And baguette.
cheese. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, and again, I just feel like him actually standing up to a microphone and saying $1.98 is grounds for impeachment. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
it
are
just
you
shows
insane? Like,
shows everyone in America, regardless of party, that he is way out of touch.
he's
Yeah.
insane.
And it makes him look bad. For what I'm saying is keep saying these things, because everyone in America, MAGA or not, knows you're incredibly wrong. And so
Right.
that's obvious when you're driving through your neighborhood or when you're putting gas in your car,
Right.
once a week or whatever, you know what the prices are. And when
Yeah.
people, regardless of party, hear him say that, it's like, oh, maybe I get it
You're
now.
nuts. Well,
Right.
but they don't care. And John, I will give you, I'm sorry. This is
Mhm.
the hidden tax that Californians pay for gas. Believe
Yeah.
me, if there's anything I think Democratic and Republican voters in California can agree on, it's friggin' gas prices and PG&E. Like we pay way too much for gas.
There's a Republican lawmaker from Southern California that says thanks to the closure of a refinery, an oil refinery in Southern California, and the Valero refinery in Benicia, which is slated to now be
Our
closed,
gas prices are
gas
gonna
is
go up.
supposed to be $8 and some odd cents a
What a
gallon.
coincidence. We're so screwed. It is
Mhm.
such BS. It is such a scam. It is
Yeah.
such a scam. And Gavin Newsom does jack shit about it. And it's
Mhm.
what the hell? Yeah, I am Gavin Newsom and energy, complete failure. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Gas, PG&E, energy, complete abject failure. How do you feel about Gavin Newsom and the whole Donald Trump cozying up with the Hollywood thing?
Explain.
So, Gavin Newsom, Donald Trump has said that he wants to propose a $7.5 billion federal tax credit to make
Mhm.
America film
Mhm.
again.
After Trump
And
decided
Newsom
that he
wants
was
to
gonna
work with him on that.
after Trump decided that he was gonna put a tariff, 100% tariff on
Yes.
film, on
Yeah.
movies, because of John Voight, who said we gotta tax movies, right?
John Boyd is badass crazy as well, by the way.
Yeah,
Angelina
no,
Jolie's dad, by the way.
nuts.
Yeah. Phineas is like Newsom's a sellout. I don't know if this is. Oh, and John, don't get me started on high speed rail. We can get to that in a second. We totally can get to that in a second. The whole film thing with Newsom cozying up to Trump about this tax credit for movies. I do think Phineas actually have a point. I don't think that we should be cutting off innovation for movies. How do you tax a film? Like, how do you tax if I want to go film a movie
Mhm.
in China, why can't I be allowed to do that? Like,
Well,
that
you can,
seems
you're just gonna have to pay more because they want local communities to get that tax revenue, to get those jobs, to have people hired as extras, to have people hired as, grips and camera people and whatever else. They want that in American communities. So I understand the desire. If the movie says this is a rom-com filmed in Alabama, and then you find out it's actually filmed in Canada or some other country, that because it was cheaper to film it there, I get why we would want it filmed here and to give people tax breaks and incentives so that these jobs are created. I understand the why. I also think that, not to defend Newsom, because I'm not liking some things lately, but I feel like Trump is the president, right? And there's no getting around it. And there will be some things that Gavin has to maintain at least a decent working relationship with him on in order to get stuff for our state. He can't say, I'm closing the door to any talks to you because you're such a moron. He can't say that. He
no
has to
true.
say, I'm going to work with you to make sure the film industry doesn't tank. I'm going to work with you to make sure that the wildfire victims get their benefits or get their federal funding. I'm going to work with you to try to hopefully keep federal funding for kids that have learning disabilities or whatever type of disabilities in schools. He has to at least keep the door open and try, in his defense.
Right. I mean, I get what you're saying. I disagree about the film tax credit. And I understand about, yes, we want more films made here. I do
Mhm.
think that a lot of films are made in California. I think that we can give tax benefits to films that are made in Hollywood, especially if they are supposed to be based in, let's say, the United States. So if you, for instance, say that your film is in Alabama, it should be filmed at least in the United States. But if you're not going to allow people to film in cheaper locations, all we're going to get are blockbuster movies, right?
Mhm.
They can afford it. These smaller shoots that can only afford, in these smaller locations, we're going to lose those. And
Mhm.
it's going to hurt innovation. That's what these things do. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Rambo First Blood, 1982, filmed in Hope, British Columbia. Um, there you go. Reppy. There you go. If Rambo can be filmed out of the country, and if there's not a more American movie than Rambo First Blood, they drew First Blood. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Kim.
Yeah, I
Excellent
have.
movie.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and Louise, WTF, that drunk Janine Pirro just got a Trump appointment meeting at the White House.
I have
It's
that
because
story
everyone from
in
Fox needs
here.
to have an appointment in the White House. Is she?
Judge Janine, the Fox and Friends lady, who is
Yeah, drunk
nutso,
ass.
who is off her rocker.
Yeah.
She is being appointed the interim U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C., because the first guy he picked got so much pushback, even from Republicans, that they're like, we're not doing this one. So now here comes Judge Janine,
She's a
and Trump
placeholder
said,
though, right?
I am pleased to announce that Judge Janine Pirro will be appointed interim United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. He's calling her the first woman elected to several previous positions and calling her a powerful crusader for victims of crime. She excelled in all ways, he said, in addition to her legal career. He went on to talk about her hosting her own show, because that's what he really looks at. Are you
Mhm.
famous on TV? Thumbs
That's
up.
all.
Then we
Yep.
like you. If you're not famous on TV, thumbs down to you.
Mhm.
Ridiculous. And she's crazy.
She's nuts. I mean, she but she She says anything that he wants her to
Mhm.
say. She will defend anything, and that's all he wants. There is no critique. And that's the problem is anybody that's worth their salt wants people that challenge them, right? If I was in a position of power, yes, of course I would, I want to have great ideas and I'd love
Yeah.
if people would be like, that's a great idea. But I'd also want people to be like, you know what? I don't know if that works. You want to make sure that the decisions that you're making are smart. And the only
Mhm.
way you can know that if you have people around you that are going to tell you the truth. Donald Trump doesn't want to know the truth. He only wants people to tell him what he wants to hear, and that's dangerous. I know I'm just speaking obvious things right now, but
Mhm.
it's yeah, he only takes crazy people. And people of Fox. I mean, how many Fox fucking people do we need in the White House? It's
Is
crazy.
she does she like the boozy like we like the boozy? I didn't
Yeah,
know.
cheers to boozing it up, I guess. But I mean, we're not in the White House.
Well, we're not in the White House and we're not in the courtroom, so, the
I mean,
people's lives
she'll
don't
have a
hang in the
drinking buddy
balance
in
over here.
Hegseth. Her and Hegseth can go off and like just
Come on.
throw a few back and just, I don't know, handle
Yeah.
important things, I guess.
Judge
Judge,
Pino. I didn't know she had
exactly.
an issue, I guess, whatever.
She always sounds drunk when she's talking. She
Mm.
sounds like me at the end of the show. It's crazy. It's absolutely
You know what
nuts.
it is for these things, these people that he keeps appointing? They just all sound cruel. They just sound mean and a little bit nuts, or a
Yeah.
lot nuts.
Well,
No.
I know. It's
Cindy.
so annoying. Oh,
Cindy with
Cindy, thanks
6
for the
City.
donation.
She says, "Love your shows for my 60th birthday this weekend.
Oh,
Wish I
happy
could afford more.
birthday.
May your Mother's Day
Oh,
bring you breakfast in bed and a restful day." That is
yes.
so nice. Oh, happy
Happy birthday,
birthday.
Cindy. 60. That is an amazing big birthday. I hope you're being totally spoiled this weekend, by the way. Happy birthday. And yes, it
I'm
is
gonna make
Mother's Day.
I'm gonna get her the
Early
birthday
happy
balloon.
Mother's Day to all the mamas out there as well. I
Mhm.
hope you get breakfast in bed for your birthday as well. Yeah, we'll talk about Mother's Day at the end of the show as well. I always love Mother's Day weekend, even though my kids totally forgot what I asked for, which is just totally
Oops, that's a picture.
typical.
Sorry.
No,
I'm gonna put it
those are
under
your birthday
background.
candles. Blow them out, Cindy.
Mhm.
Um,
Here it is.
yeah,
There's the birthday balloon.
there's the
Happy
birthday
birthday.
balloons.
Woo!
Happy birthday to ya. Yeah, I don't know. Trump just
Thank
loves,
you.
his little cult all the way around him. But it'll be
Time
another S show. It'll be another
time
S show.
Times are tough
Um,
all over, and as much as things are gonna cost more, everyone has their hand out, including this show, because this is all crowdfunded now. This is
yes.
the status
So we
post
really do
reality of
appreciate it.
KGO. So,
Exactly.
revenue's been down, so that is hugely,
Thank you.
needed, and thank you so much, and 650 is a wonderful amount, and happy birthday to you.
And happy birthday. Thank you
Mhm,
so much, Cindy. We always appreciate any amount that you guys can give, honestly.
mhm,
And so many of you do donate after the show. And I
yeah,
really, really, really do love all of the donations you guys give us on PayPal and during the show as well. So thank you very much.
mhm,
Um, John, I know you want to talk about the refinery, but I did want to mention something about high-speed rail because I was listening. Those of you that aren't from the Bay Area probably don't know the name, but Phil Mateer is a columnist. He's on ABC7 all the time. He was talking about high speed rail and how Donald Trump wants to pull the funding.
mhm.
High speed rail, it's in the Central Valley. It's been dubbed the train to nowhere. What is it? It's from what are the two spots that it's
Los
basically
Angeles to Las Vegas? Or
oh,
sorry,
it's
it's,
supposed to go from San Francisco to Los Angeles, but where is it right
yeah,
now? It's not, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just two spots in the Central Valley, basically. It's not moving anywhere.
Bakersfield to somewhere else, I have to see.
Yeah. So basically,
They're still working on it, and
we
it's not like it actually
it's
works.
not going anywhere.
No.
It literally doesn't go anywhere, but there's train tracks that go nowhere. Um, I do not believe I'm actually with Trump on this one. I don't believe we should
Mhm.
put any more money towards this.
Well,
I have
hell has
gone on
frozen
record.
over. That's a drop. I'm actually with Trump on this one.
I
That's a
am. But I've been on this. I have been on this kick. Even on my KGO days, and I've gotten
Mhm.
into many arguments with people about this. Um, I do not believe in throwing good money after bad
Yeah.
yeah, after bad because it's not going to happen. I wish it would. I do believe that the project started out as a good idea. But if
Mhm.
there is a symbol of incompetence in California, right? It is this project. It is exceeded in a disgustingly obscene way the amount of money that it was promised to cost. Voters have approved, stupidly, myself included, way too much money for this project. And it's not worth it. We need to stop saying yes to approving more money for this project, because I do not believe we have the leadership or the people in charge of this project that are ever going to get it done. I don't. I do not believe in my lifetime we will ever see this project done.
No,
I don't.
we won't.
You
It
know,
goes right
they
now
brought up the
to
recession when they were talking about, they brought up the effing recession. The recession when they talked about what stalled this project. The recession.
yeah.
And that's all we've gotten done. So yeah,
Madera to
I don't think we
Bakersfield,
should yeah.
because that's where you want. You got to go really fast from Madera to Bakersfield.
We didn't get the right of ways. We didn't get the land. We kind of, and I'm using the we as in the people that were in charge of it. I think they thought that if we just start digging, everything will fall into place. It has been the biggest expensive BS project ever. And we should stop throwing money at it.
We've already spent 15.7 billion.
No,
So we've spent that much. It was originally estimated to cost 33 billion in 2008, and they were supposed to finish it in 2020.
Yeah.
And then there was this big audit to figure out where 17 billion that's already spent has gone. And now there's no clear timeline. And what we know is that we're way behind schedule. The fate of the project hangs in the balance, and the latest estimate for the entire line from Sacramento to San Diego is now, remember, it was 33 billion. Now it's 106 billion.
No.
More than 3 times the original cost of this.
No, stop building it. I will never, ever, ever vote for another dime to go to this project. Ever. And if ever there is a politician standing in front of me saying high-speed rail to me, I will not vote for them. You're an idiot. I will not ever support this project. It is asinine. And I agree with conservatives that say it, but it was an S show to begin with. They needed to start into the Central Valley to get some of the votes for it. And I understand the politics surrounding it, but it was stupid. You should have just you should have thrown a middle finger to them and said, we're not going to start there. We should have started it in a place where it would have gotten more attention. You should start it in the city. Whatever. It was a mess. It was done poorly. And it symbolizes the incompetence of this state. There's a lot of things California does well. Not this.
Well, and they should have known, just like any bridge or any freeway, the longer it takes, the more it's going to cost.
Yeah.
And so when they said cost overruns, when they said we're not going to get it done by 2020, and the new estimate is this, twice as much, and the new estimate, they should have known that this is a,
someone ran off with a lot of money.
It's a money pit.
We got scammed.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. It's crazy. So yeah,
I'm not saying that there's not bullet trains or high-speed rail that are very worthy. In other countries, it works great. I mean, isn't there high-speed rail throughout Japan? And people love
and they do it like that.
But we couldn't get it together in California. And now look at it.
Yeah, I mean, and also I think it's also our regulations. I think it's our terrain. I think it's all sorts of things. And again, it's politics. Cindy, why does Europe and China have high-speed rail? Would love to be able to go from San Francisco to LA in 2 hours. So would I. I think the dream of it is it's well placed. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. I will not live to see high-speed. I won't see it because I'm not going to vote for it anymore. You're not getting a dime of my tax money. If anyone votes for it, you're an idiot. It's stupid. Stop throwing money at it. Donald Trump, I will say, is right to take the money away.
That's really hard, right? I
don't
also
give any more money to this project. It's stupid.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's dumb. Absolutely dumb. Even Nugget says it. He's growling at the project. See?
No for high-speed rail. That's the way it goes, and I don't. It was a good idea. We'll just say it was a really good idea. It just didn't work out this
It
well.
didn't work
Yeah.
out.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Can I share with you guys something that was really, really fun that I did see? You know what happened on Monday?
Hmm.
Something fun happened on Monday. Anybody know? Sorry, ignore my dog.
Cinco de
So the
Mayo?
Met Gala happened
Oh,
on
Met Gala.
Monday.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I'm not into fashion. I don't know if you guys can tell. Not into fashion, but I do like the Met Gala. Let's see. Rihanna announced that she was pregnant again with her baby number 3. All people come out in these fancy schmancy outfits, but I saw this video and it made me totally giggle. So Anna
Hmm.
Wintour is the editor in chief of Vogue magazine.
Vogue.
Sorry,
Hmm.
Vogue magazine, and she had this awesome interview that she had given. I think this video was from a few years ago, and so Vogue has held the event since 1995, and so she gave this interview about Donald Trump and
Oh.
how he will never ever be invited back to the Met Gala. And this is what she said. I just wanted to play it.
I never regret permanently removing Trump from the invitation list of the Met Gala, even though he was the president. He used to be a guest. At that time, I thought he was just a businessman, but I was wrong. The Met Gala is neither Mar-a-Lago nor a stage for the restoration of the powerful and wealthy. When I host this event, it's not to reserve a seat for him, nor to let his supporters shout, "Make fashion great again" by the red carpet. We make room for art, culture, and the true spirit of innovation, rather than making way for someone who has blatantly belittled women, mocked immigrants, and regarded aesthetics as a bargaining chip. He once tried to persuade me to let him return to the red carpet with the First Lady, and also hinted that there were sponsoring brands willing to pay. I refused because the Met Gala is not an exchange. He hasn't been cancelled, he just never truly belonged here. It's ridiculous that he actually thought he could come back. I don't want this most sacred night in the fashion world to be reduced to someone's political show. Whether he's willing to admit it or not, he's out for good.
I
Wow.
absolutely love that video.
So the Devil Wears Prada, the main character played by Meryl Streep, who was a
It's her,
total B
right.
word,
Yeah.
she
Ripped
is
off of her.
that's supposed to be based on her. So she's supposed to just be this, like hard to work for
Yes.
shrew. But that doesn't mean she doesn't have morals. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that she doesn't have standards. And it
Oh,
is
and
about
Donald
art
Trump
and
is so
innovation.
tacky.
God, I love that she did that. That's good
I
because
do
it's true.
too.
He only
Yes.
wants to go to places like this to benefit himself,
Oh,
not
yeah.
for charity, not to benefit the Metropolitan Museum of Art, not to
Mhm.
benefit art or innovation or technology or fashion or any of these things solely to benefit himself. And she knows it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And what's so funny is that and I'm sure there's many other places, but it's another place that he can't buy his way into. He can't
Hmm.
bully his way into. It's not like he
Yeah.
can make himself president of the Mets, right? Or,
Hmm.
or of that. It's just she's like, no, you're not invited. And I don't care that you're president, right?
You're
It's like
out
you're
permanently.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
And for life.
yeah, exactly. So it's just gonna be ugh,
Oh, Nugget. Come on. That's the way it is.
but yeah, so he's just gonna have to accept the fact. And Melania probably really, really, really wants to go. And she can't. She can't go,
Nope.
even though she was a
Mm-mm.
model. You know what I mean? And I loved
Yep.
it. Yeah, he never belonged. He never belonged.
Yep.
And so that's what I love about it. And he didn't. I mean, can you imagine what would he wear? What would he wear? Because you usually wear something like kind of out there, like with a theme or something. What's he gonna wear?
Can
A
you
suit
imagine
and stand there
Trump?
all hunched over? Give
Can
me a
you
break,
imagine Trump dressing to promote black dandyism?
right?
No,
Like, no,
that's
and
not
he's gonna make it
happening.
all about
Yeah,
himself.
that's
You know what I mean?
absolutely
So
funny.
no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no, not at all. He's not gonna do anything like that. So I bet you my
yeah.
daughter's out front. I bet that is why my dog is going nuts. She is all
Somebody's out
invited.
there.
I
Someone's
know
doing
exactly.
something.
I know he's my
Mhm.
security. Speaking of security, who has gotten their real ID? So that whole thing is happening. Have you gotten your real ID?
No, I haven't even gone to apply for it, but I
So
do have
I
a
have my
passport.
appointment next month.
Okay.
And so I just realized, so the reason I'm bringing this up is so we're going on our big old road trip. And one of so one of the things that's in the back of our mind for our road trip is if we run out of time, we're going to fly back. So we got a rental car. And our goal is, because I really want to go to New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
on this road trip, this roller coaster road trip. One of my dreams, Kim McAllister,
Mm-hmm.
is to end the trip in New Orleans. Because
Fun.
I want to eat gumbo, have the kids eat a real beignet, and then fly home. Like, that's my goal.
Yeah.
I don't. If I don't have to make the entire loop, I'd be happy. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, shoot, I need to make sure that I have my real ID and or my passport. So thank God my passport is still current. But anybody get their real ID? Kim says I got mine in 2019 because I initially was supposed to have them by May 2020. I read an article of someone saying I'm not going to get it. If they waited this long, do you know how long they've tried to institute the real ID? Maybe more than a decade. If it was really that important, like, why are we even doing this anymore? I don't really think it's
7 years. Yeah, it's I don't feel like I need it. As long as I have a passport, then if I'm not going anywhere, if I go to the airport, I'll take my passport. Even
But
for
you
a
can't even
domestic
get into
flight.
federal buildings.
With my passport, I can.
Are you just going to carry your passport around with you all the time?
Sure, I guess that's where I am.
Are you never going to? I mean, unless you need to renew your ID, then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make a special trip.
Yeah, I mean, I have my appointment in June, but it's going to take a couple of weeks, and I think we're going to be gone by then. I don't even think I'm going to be around by the time I get. I don't want to take a new picture. That's what I don't want to do. I don't want to take another. I like my driver's license picture. It was taken a while ago. I don't want to take another picture.
Well, it's perhaps smart to get your real ID, and maybe I'm not being wise on this, because at this point, there are people that I've read stories, they're carrying around their passports or birth certificates because they're afraid that they won't have their papers on them and they'll be deported. There are people in San Diego that are American citizens, but maybe of brown hue, and are now walking around with their papers because they're terrified that ICE is going to come and you won't be able to prove you are who you say you are. Perhaps if you had a real ID where you need to provide proof of citizenship or birth certificate or whatever to get that, it's just another document that will back you up when you say, hey, I'm a citizen. So maybe it is smart.
Thank you so much, Mars, for the $20 donation, and Vicky for the $10 Happy Mother's Day donation. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. We love the donations to the show. We do depend on it so much. I'm also thinking, while you were just bringing that up, I was thinking of the whole voting thing that they're trying to change, and with women
voting rules, right?
I don't know if this is going to solve any of that, because it's still going to be my married name.
Yeah, on my real ID or whatever it would be. It's my married name on my passport.
It's my married name on my passport. I don't know, man. This whole thing is just driving me absolutely freaking nuts. But yeah, so get your real ID. Who knows what's going to happen? That started. What about Trump's plan to turn Alcatraz back into a prison?
Stop it. Really?
I've never been to Alcatraz. Are there any places that are nearby that you have never seen, that you just live here? I've never been to Alcatraz. Any other Bay Area places?
I don't think that technically I have been to the Winchester Mystery House.
Oh, I've been there.
Because that's by you. But I've been to Alcatraz multiple times. I've taken family members out there on a tour that, have come from different states. And I went there on a field trip when I was a little kid. They locked me in solitary confinement.
I want to go to Alcatraz.
Well, you better go before it turns back into a prison.
He's not going to do it. He just says shit.
Someone said the movie was on TV, and that's why he said, oh,
yeah. He probably watched The Rock. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, that's a good movie. You should reopen
Birdman from Alcatraz.
He's such an idiot.
It's so unrealistic. It's too small of a prison. It's crumbling out there. It'd be too expensive to hire people. You got to ferry them back and forth. You got to ferry the food back and forth. The energy, like everything about that place is a no.
Oh my god. I was watching The Daily Show, like, on, like, TikTok or something. They did a montage of him just talking about
Yeah.
reopening, and it was, like, the longest, like, rambling speech about it. And I think, like, Roger Goodell or some NFL people were there, and they just had to sit there with this stupid smile on their face, like, "What is this guy talking about?" He's so if Biden did this, it's
You would
just
think he was nuts. And he didn't really do anything that too crazy other than show up on TV and slur his words, and people thought, "Oh, he's losing it." And now you got this guy saying we gotta reopen Alcatraz. I mean, if that
Alcatraz.
isn't an example number 1 of cuckoo.
It's a museum. It's like you wanna reopen a museum as a prison? It's a museum.
I had an
It's
idea
so
that he was
stupid.
doing this because he's so into cruelty, and that this is, the worst, most notorious prison for the worst people, and you isolate them and you put them in solitary confinement, and it's cold and it's windy and it's miserable and the waves are beating you down. And so maybe it was all about the appearance of cruelty, but I had someone email saying that they think the reason is because Trump is trying to troll Newsom and Pelosi, both Bay Area, San Francisco people, right?
Mhm.
And that this is just a way to troll them, to say, I'm going to take your major tourist attraction away and I'm going to turn it into a federal penitentiary.
Oh my god. Well, maybe, but Phineas, I just was Googling what he was just saying. Trump just announced he wants to take Travis Air Force Base and make it an immigrant detention center. Yeah.
Oh, come on. Is that
Yeah,
true?
apparently the US Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's they're demanding answers from him about a proposal to place an immigration detention facility at Travis Air Force Base. John Garamendi is demanding answers. He's saying it's outrageous and inappropriate for the Trump administration to use the Air Force Base as this type of facility. Garamendi says there's dozens of flights that leave Travis every day, moving equipment, personnel, and munitions around the world. It is an absolutely critical base. He was joined by Congressman Mike Thompson, whose district flanks the base on 3 sides, in sending a letter to Hegseth saying they're deeply frustrated and
Mhm.
concerned about the proposed use. Duh! Travis Air Force Base is hella busy. I
It's a
swear to
real
God.
working Air Force base.
It is
Yeah.
a working when I lived in Sacramento, it is a completely working Air Force Base. It is an asinine. Again, I feel like there's a dartboard somewhere. You know what I mean? Where do they get these ideas? I just don't know. In January, Garamendi wrote to the Department of Defense challenging the use of military aircraft from Travis Air Force Base for deportation flights. In February, Garamendi sent a letter raising concerns over a plan to deploy medical personnel from Travis Air Force Base's David Grant Medical Center to a naval base at Guantanamo Bay. So maybe all these letters might have raised the, attention on the Air Force Base a bit. Ah,
That's crazy. I guess we're
no.
going to see these places opening up all over the place as they detain more and more immigrants, and they need some place to house them and put them. And we know that if they detain someone in Oklahoma, part of their tactics are they'll transport you to somewhere like California. They want you to get as
Sanctuary
far away
cities.
from your
Yeah.
families and your friends and help as you can, so that you're then isolated and more easily to just deport without a fight, right?
Mhm.
There's no one sticking up for you. So they're going to try to open these places up around the country. It's ugly.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I read that too.
Mhm.
Louise, props to the cast of Les Miserables for boycotting the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
Enjoy your WWE Kid Rock show, mega asshats. Exactly.
Do you think it's better that they told them ahead of time that they'd be boycotting the show, or do you think it would have been more powerful if during the middle of Les Mis at the Kennedy Center with Trump in the audience, front and center, that all of the people that didn't want anything to do with performing for him stood up and turned their backs on stage? So you could,
Mm.
looking on stage, you just saw their backsides and they just stopped performing.
I don't know. I mean, I think your way, that second would have been way more powerful. Did
Although
he?
then it's the artist ruining the art, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like just kind of not showing up at all.
right.
I do believe not showing up does speak volumes. Like I'm
Mhm.
just not going to be there. Um, I did, and I'm not going to talk about it because I do believe talking about it, but a certain person was at San Francisco State. Um, and the reason why I'm not talking about it is because I think that talking about it is exactly what this person wants. But I feel like when you bring attention to people that you don't want to bring attention to, that's exactly what they want, right? So you speak volumes, but by just not
Mhm.
by putting attention where you want things to be, right?
Sure.
So I want my attention to be on my show and the things that I want to talk about. And
Mhm.
if other people want to do that, then that's what they can do. You know what I mean? So it's just, I think boycotting things works. Although I saw this video even just today, and it was this analogy about being neutral about things. Um, and how some people are like, I'm just not going to get involved, and thinking that that didn't make a difference, right?
Yeah.
They're just like, I'm just going to stay out of it. I'm not going to do anything about it. And and basically it was this girl, and she was saying there was like this can of paint on the table, right? And this can of paint was being pushed and heading towards the edge of the table, right? And there's three things you can do. You can help it,
Mhm.
right? You could push back, or you could do nothing, right?
Mhm.
And she's saying, like, doing nothing is the same as helping it, because doing nothing, it's still going to fall off the table, right? So just not doing anything um is still doing something. But in the case
One
of
could
like
argue that
boycotting,
by not doing anything, it's not your fault necessarily. It's the person who pushed the can to on its trajectory in the first place. That doing nothing, you're an observer and you haven't gotten involved, but you didn't cause it.
no, I'm not saying you cause. I think that,
Yeah.
I think observing something in which you can do something about,
Mhm.
like, I don't know what's happening, let's say,
Yep.
I don't know, in some country far, far away. So I can't be blamed for that. But if I'm
Mhm.
standing there and I'm not helping in a situation that I care about,
Mhm.
that is,
No, I'm
that
with
is,
you.
it is still doing
Yeah.
something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now, if you don't give a shit,
What's
if
the
you don't give a
saying that
shit, then that's something. You know
when
what I
you
mean?
see something going on and you're silent, you're as culpable as the people who did it in the first place?
I mean, I wouldn't
Um,
say it's the same. I wouldn't say it's equal, but I would
mhm.
say that you're doing something. It's not
Yeah.
like you're not doing it. It's not neutral, is what I'm saying. Don't say that you're neutral. You're not
Yeah.
Switzerland there. You know what I mean? That's what
Mhm.
I'm saying. I think that there's some people that say, well, if I stay out of it, then I'm not involved at all. No, it's not that you're not involved at all. So you just can't say that. That's all I'm saying. Um, because I think a lot of us do think that if we just stay out of it and put blinders onto the things that we
Mhm.
do know about, that makes us, that it's okay that we're not getting involved.
It's
Um,
the fear. A lot of people don't do things because they're afraid. They just wanna stay out of it, keep their head down until this all
right.
blows over.
And I totally get that. Yeah.
Teacher Lori says it's dangerous for the actors if they did do something like that, stand up on stage and turn their backs. Don't go too far in humiliation, cumulative reprisals, and many actors are immigrants, she said.
That's true.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And again, I think Lori makes a good point. I also don't think the consequences for people are equal. I think that people have to understand their privilege in this world. I think that
Mhm.
there are some people where they can speak louder because their privilege allows them to, and they should use it that way, right? I think that there are some people where their socioeconomic and racial makeup give them the privilege to stand there and be louder,
Mhm.
right? Because they don't have to worry about certain things. And they should use it in that way if they can and if they want to. Other people don't have that privilege. Um they can't use it in that way because
Mhm.
there's a lot more on the line for them. And they would like to, but they can't. There's just too much at stake.
Luis,
Uh
thank you for the $5. He says, powerful. I saw Rage Against the Machine set a poster of George H. Bush on fire at Berkeley Square during their encore, which ended the show, but it was pretty
yeah,
cool. Mhm.
exactly. I know. And some people don't even understand, like, And I love people that like now don't even understand Rage Against the Machine, and they think that it's so weird. Yeah, politics are weird. You know what I mean? And how people evolve in politics is weird, and it's just a weird time to be alive. You know,
Can I mention this Kilmar Abrego Garcia story briefly?
please,
I would like it noted and on the record that
Mm,
Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary,
Barbie. Hmm.
Barbie, Cruella Barbie,
Yes.
says that there is, despite the Supreme Court order,
Mm.
no scenario where Abrego Garcia comes back to the United States of America.
Yep.
So basically, she's thumbing her nose at the
Mhm.
orders by the Supreme Court. The
Yep.
Trump administration is saying that there's the national secrets are involved, so that they don't have to turn over documents that the court has requested, and they're doing everything they can to thwart the court's order to show that there's progress in getting Mr. Abrego Garcia, whether you think he's a good guy or a bad guy, back so that the courts can decide whether or not he's a bad guy or a good guy, and then decide whether he should be deported or not. And it is being called by some Democrats incredibly chilling, Kristi Noem's
Mhm.
words, for the balance of powers in a democracy, that she says, regardless of the court's ruling, there is no moment, there is no scenario in which she sees this man coming back to the United States. So
Yeah, she doesn't believe in court orders, which is insane to me. Insane.
two things happen. The guy dies there, and there's lawsuits filed against the Trump administration,
Because they'll
showing that the
ignore.
Supreme Court said that they had to facilitate his return, or he comes back and they eat crow. So I want it on the record that that's what she said, and that's when she said it.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, it boggles my mind that people who took oaths, right? And it's so interesting, Kim, because this reminds me of the conversation that started the show when we were talking about religion.
Mhm.
You don't get to pick and choose when you take an oath to follow the Constitution.
Right.
You said you were going to follow our Constitution. Did you or did you not? These are
You
the
not only
laws.
you not only said you were going to follow it, you said you were going to preserve it, protect it, and defend it with your life. That's what
Against,
you said.
you know,
All
against
enemies,
threats,
foreign and
foreign
domestic.
and domestic,
That's
right?
right. That's what you said. And so in America, the Constitution means business. This is America. This is our law of the land. This is who we are. And right now, you're giving that the middle finger.
Yep. They
These
don't
people
care.
have no business in government, no
No.
business standing up there and making an oath that they have no intention of defending or of completing their oath.
Exactly.
Nope.
Nope. But also they were never going to follow it. They were only going to follow the rule of Donald Trump. That was it.
Hmm.
Whatever he says goes. You tell me gas is $1.98, you tell me to jump 10 feet in the sky, I will do it for you. And that is what is so scary, is these people do not have a mind of their own.
Hmm.
They will not push back. And it's so scary. It's so scary. And it's sad that they're that weak. And they're that weak, and yet they think that they're so strong, you know?
Scary to the rest of us because, to me personally, because I never thought that America was based on a system that could be so easily, demolished, could be so easily thwarted. I never thought that I would see the day that all it takes is a couple people to stand up and say, "Yeah, we don't ever see the day where we're actually going to follow what the Supreme Court said," and that that's somehow okay.
Yeah. And they
I
say it
mean,
out
there should
loud,
be
and they're fine
she
with it.
should up there should have been a knock on her door, and that she should have been hauled into court and thrown into contempt of court until she makes it happen. This is the
Mhm.
United States of America. We have a rule of law here. Apparently, the rule of law only is applicable to some and not to everyone.
Yeah, and it's scary that there's no people that will stand up to it. But again, it's because sadly, we put too much stock into a belief system.
Mhm.
We believed in our system of government, and then it was tested, and it's being tested. And a lot of people sadly are failing that
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
Then he says the only way Trump will see justice is if the people stand up. The people need to organize and become the resistance. Exactly. Vanessa says, would you really expect someone who shoots a puppy and a goat because she's in a bad mood to follow rules? Yeah, no, I don't. Exactly. Interesting. Okay, this is a little off.
Okay.
Kind of. And I thought about this. I don't want to give any spoilers. Okay. Did you watch The Last of Us?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Ah, damn it.
I
Okay,
watched.
I'm not
Let me
giving away
amend
a spoiler, so I'm not going to mention the names. But there
Okay.
is this scene, and if anybody has watched The Last of Us, and I'm not going to give any spoilers when I say this, but there's two groups, and there's this line in this group where there's this strong army type group,
Mhm.
and there's like kind of this cult type group. Okay. And there's this conversation between like one of the soldiers and one of the cult people. And he's like, we have all the guns and the
Mhm.
hospitals. Why do you, and he's looking at this, this cult member.
Mhm.
And he's like, why, that's bloody. And he's like, why do you think that you're going to win? And he's like, every day someone joins us. And every day one person from your group joins us, and never does one of our people join you.
Mhm.
And I think about that all of the time, because that's what worries me sometimes, is like, which way is it going in our society? I feel like more people are waking up, right? And
Yeah.
like breaking out of the Trump spell right now.
Am
But
I
that's
in the
what
bubble that's how I feel, that there'd be more
exactly.
people
But
leaving MAGA
that
world than going
right.
in?
But
Yeah.
when I heard that line, when I heard that exchange, I was like,
Mhm.
am I in the bubble? Like when
Mhm.
I heard that line, I was like, which way is this country going?
Yeah.
Right? Which way is it going? Is every day someone waking up to us to the craziness and being like, let me break out of this? Or are we losing people every day?
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm hoping it's our way. I'm hoping it's our way. So
I watched the first season of The Last of Us because you made me, and then I started watching season 2, and I had to
you
pause.
didn't watch the second episode, did you?
I haven't watched the second episode yet, and then I made a deal with my husband, and he's gonna get caught up on the first episode because I was scared, so we're gonna watch the second season together. I wanna respond to Yvonne Beach Bonnie. I love her name and her wave icon, and she says, to my, that I didn't think America was so weak that it could fall like this so soon and so quickly and without a lot of trouble. She said, "It's happened around the world. Why are we special?"
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
guess, Yvonne, truth, my friend, we're not special. I thought we were, though. I thought we were different. I thought we had laws that protected our Constitution and protected who we are as a people. And it come to find out, Yvonne, you're incredibly right. And I was living in La La Land and
Mhm.
delusional. I thought we were all patriotic and that we all understood. And apparently we don't. That some of
Mhm.
us, money and influence and cruelty and feeling superior is more important than the basic tenets of the United States of America. Those people are not
Well,
patriots, not at all.
I think that, to kind of end more on an upbeat note,
Oh,
I
sorry.
think that well, no, but I do think that there's a
What a
pendulum. And I think
what
that
a
if you
Debbie
look back through
Downer.
history, no, but I think that if you look back through history, this often happens, right?
Mhm,
There is this push and this pull, push and pull. And I don't think that you can look through history, even the history of the United States, and not see this happen
mhm.
over and over and over again. And I do think that there's always in every generation a point where everyone's like, this is the worst that it's ever been. I
Yeah.
think that every generation has it. And yes, I think that we can be like, it's never been this bad, right?
Mhm.
But then I think that people in the 1950s thought that, in the 1960s thought that. I think every generation. I mean, I'm sorry if you saw African American people being hosed down in the street and being hung from trees.
Ugh,
I think that you would think that that is the worst that it could ever be.
right.
Okay. So
Agree.
let's keep things in a bit of
Mhm,
perspective. Not saying this isn't bad, but
mhm.
let's just understand we have a dark history and it follows us
Yeah.
every day of our lives. So not to continue down that dark path, but I'm just saying it takes, like, was it Phineas or someone saying, we the people, to continue to put our Constitution to the test. And so it is. And every time the other side, and whatever side that is, tests it, we the people need to stand up and protect it. So that's what it is. That's what we have to do. And that's what we have continued to do year after year after year. And so we have to continue to do that. That's it. And it sucks, but that's what democracy looks like. That's what democracy looks like. And democracy has spread around the world because of it. And if you look at the world history, democracy has spread. So, not saying that there hasn't been a lot of wars and a lot of death over it, but it has spread, and there's been pushback because of it as well. So, yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but
sorry, I didn't mean to end it on a Debbie Downer note.
Yeah. Remember how to say, remember, kids, shit can always get worse.
Cheers to you. But at least we have each other, and at least we have a mocktail or a cocktail.
Hey, at
right?
least we have each other. Exactly. You know what? F it. Let's end on a good note. Let's end on Mother's Day. All right, Miss Kim McAllister, it is Mother's Day. What? Okay. Can I just say this right now? I look at my kids. Mother's Day is this weekend. We'll talk about what we're doing. I look at my son 2 weeks ago. I look him square in the eyes and I tell him exactly what I want as a gift for Mother's Day.
Right. That's nice because I don't expect anything. So
totally forgot what I wanted. He totally forgot what I wanted.
What was it that you wanted?
I'm not even going to say because he's going to cheat. I'm not saying it. I'm not gonna give him the. So I look at him last night. We're all sitting in my daughter's bedroom, and I go. Mother's Day is on Sunday. I'm not one of those people that I will always remind my family. I'm not one of these people like, don't forget in my mind, and then be bummed when they forget. I get mornings. It's Mother's Day, mofos. Like, let's go. And so I was like, you remember? I look at my son. I go, you remember what I told you I wanted? He's like, oh. And I even mentioned it to my daughter. I was like, and she's like, oh yeah, you mentioned it to me the other day. And they both. And my son's like, you don't remember what I wanted for my birthday? And I said, yes, I do.
Always do.
I was like, you told me you wanted money so you could buy records for your birthday. And he's like, oh. I was like, that's why you need to remember what I want for Mother's Day. We'll see if they remember. We'll see. If they don't, whatever.
Hopefully someone will think of it and I'll get a drawing. Someone will have drawn something or a handmade card. I think Jacob made a magnet, a ladybug magnet in class that he's already given me. So that's on the fridge. I think it was supposed to be for Mother's Day, but he couldn't. He's that kid. If it's in his backpack, he's got to give it.
Yeah, he's going to give it to you. He can't wait. That's just sweet. They can't wait.
So I got my ladybug magnet and that's all. There are no expectations.
What do you want? I don't want anything. I wanted this because I need this. I don't ask for anything ever, but I need this. So that's why I asked for it. I was like, I need this. I could buy it for myself, or you guys can buy this for me.
Sure, why not?
And it's not, honestly, I kind of wanted a good one. Like, I'll buy the cheap one for myself because I'm cheap. Or you guys can splurge and combine your money and buy me a nice one. And so, whatever. If they don't get it to me, I'll buy my own. But no, I'm not helping them. I'm not going to remind him. But I know one sentence I could say to my son that will remind him, and he'll remember. And if he doesn't remember, I'm going to say it to my Mother's Day, and I'm going to be like, you know how long an epidural needle is?
That's what I want for Mother's Day, Eileen. Thank you for the reminder.
Clean the pool.
I want the pool cleaned, and I would like the clothes picked up off your bedroom floor. That's what I want.
No, I want that every day.
I'm not getting it every day.
Okay, what do you want? Do you like breakfast in bed?
It's okay. No, I'm not getting that. You're setting the bar too high over here, Nikki. That is not going to happen.
Ask for what you want.
I'm lucky I get a cocktail on Cocktails, Mocktails, and Politics night. This is great.
Oh, dude, I just, you know me, I like to be left alone. So my best, for those that follow me for a long time, I normally go get hammered with one of my best friends on Mother's Day. So Saturday I go out with my mom, and then Sunday I go get hammered with my best friend. And I haven't talked to her, but my best friend's mom has dementia, unfortunately. So I don't think that it's going to happen this year. I haven't asked, but I'm not pushing. So I think I'll be here. So I want Korean barbecue.
Okay.
That's what I want, because nobody wants to have Korean barbecue because my husband doesn't think my kids eat enough to justify it. I don't care. Everybody doesn't get to eat all day, and then we go out for
I'm
Korean
always
barbecue.
fascinated at Korean barbecue by how
Mm,
much food you put in the dish and then how it all cooks down and you end up
yeah.
with like a normal amount. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Deidre,
expensive, but
it
and you
is.
really can't eat all day. Like,
No.
it's expensive, so and don't eat the rice. If you go, don't eat the rice. Eat the beef because that's the most expensive. You're gonna smell like meat when you leave. You get the meat sweats. Um,
Nikki from Mother's Day wants some meat.
mhm, and
Deidre
and
says,
and I don't wanna clean, and I want the remote all day.
there you go.
It's Sunday, so we'll watch The Last of Us. It's Sunday, so you should catch up on The Last of Us.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, and I want the house clean. I don't want to do anything. Like, don't bother me. That's all I want. Just I like hugs, kisses, and then leave me alone with the remote. And then bring me
Deidre,
a cocktail.
oh, that's right. Someone mentioned Jacob. I probably will get a serenade with a ukulele.
Oh,
Deidre
that's
says,
nice.
for Mother's Day, I always said I wanted my husband to remove my kids from my presence for a
Yes,
few hours so that no one wanted anything from me and
yes.
I could get some downtime.
That's
Absolutely.
that's usually what I get. I have the kids. That's
Mhm.
why I usually go out with my friend and we go get hammered. Like, we go get an Uber, we go to a bar, and we
Mhm.
just drink all day. Like,
Yeah.
I love my family. I see my family every day. For Mother's Day, it's like I don't need anything. My husband was gonna take my daughter driving. You know what I mean? Like, go take
Nice.
her driving. She has her driver's test next week. Like, leave me alone. I don't need anything. But yeah, I'll have my nails done with my mom on Saturday. I didn't know that Saturday is also called Mexican Mother's Day. Did you know that? Any
No.
Mexicans watching?
Mm-mm.
Apparently, like a lot of Mexicans celebrate Mother's Day on Saturday. I mentioned that to someone that I work with, and they're like, "Oh, it's Mexican Mother's Day," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I'm not Mexican, but
Look at Josh
apparently.
at his house. He might get his wife and mother-in-law a couple of pre-rolled joints and some plantable flowers.
There you go. That sounds like a damn good time to me. There you go. My husband obliged and took the kids away for some dad time. Perfect. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I like places where you grill your own meat. Exactly. I like it too. I
Yeah.
love Korean barbecue. And there's some new Korean barbecue places that I want to try. So, and I don't even mind going for lunch. So, if I don't go out with my friend, I'll go for lunch and it's even cheaper. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe on weekends they still do it at the same time because it's Mother's Day.
Mhm.
They're probably going to gouge you. But I don't care. Yeah, May 10th is Mexican Mother's Day. See, I was right. But yeah. So, anyways, to all the mothers out there, whatever you want to do, I hope you
Yeah.
do. But anyways, you should catch up on Last of Us.
Do.
At least watch the second episode, my friend. So at least you can mourn with me.
Well, now I have to wait. Now I have to wait.
You have to watch the whole first season.
Because I'm doing to him what you did to me. See, it's like The Last of Us
Is he
TV
actually
style.
watching it though?
He's supposed to be watching the first season so that we can then catch up together. And I'm kind of glad because I don't want to hate is a strong word. I find myself sad when I get only one episode per week. I almost want to wait until the end so I can just binge it all because I hate the cliffhangers and I hate having to wait to
You are
find out
not
what
going to want
happens
to
next.
binge watch Last of Us. You're going to like be freaked out and have nightmares all the time.
I did last time.
Is he
Yeah.
watching though? Because it's going to take forever.
I'll ask. I'll make sure. I'll
I'm
verify.
going to bother you every week until you do. So, all
TV
right.
homework.
TV homework. Exactly. I got some TV homework for Kim McAllister.
Yeah. Mhm.
I do like binge watching. I'm also watching Hacks and I'm also watching
Oh.
Survivor. So there you go.
I'm watching
Like-
Survivor too. Why couldn't we
Oh.
be Luis's mom? Why couldn't Luis have been my little baby boy? He's got 3
Oh.
days in Palm Springs. Friday, spa, paella dinner. Saturday, Diana Krall concert. Dinner at Morton's Steakhouse.
Wow.
Tina Turner musical matinee. Dinner at my... I'm telling you. Why
Wow.
couldn't we have squeezed out a Luis? This is what I want to know.
I mean, maybe our kids, when our kids are Luis's age, will treat us to that. Right now, we get ladybug magnets and ukulele songs.
Exactly.
let's just
And I
wait.
love it. I'll take it all.
Exactly.
This is
Let's
great.
just wait. Maybe it'll come. All right. There. Oh,
Mhm.
Deidre, you're gonna love the pit. I love
It's
the pit.
awesome. Mhm.
It is so good. I cannot wait for
Talking
next
to
season.
my emergency doctor Daniel on the Mark Thompson show, and
Uh-huh.
he and I were talking, and he said it is, and I agree, having worked in an ER, he said it's the most realistic hospital drama or
Oh,
emergency
there you
room
go.
drama that he's ever seen, and it's
I
so
love it.
true.
Oh, I
Mhm. Yeah,
love The
really
Pit.
good.
And I
It's
hate
bloody though. It's very
it is
bloody
bloody.
and gory, and that to me is normal because
Right. So there's
that's
blood.
a normal
Yes,
part of the.
in the
Usually, it's
ER.
probably worse than that. But so just if you're squeamish, that's to be
I'm
noted.
not, but I love it.
Yeah.
But also,
Yeah, you're
Noah
not.
Wiley or whatever, he's awesome.
Yep.
And I hate HBO because they do make you wait for everything. They
hmm
do not let you, unless you, of course, wait until it's all out and then you could binge watch it. But yes, Dr. Hottie.
He is he's Dr. Hottie part 2. The first Dr. Hottie
Or
is
the
Dr. Peter
ER.
Chin Hong.
Oh, Peter.
Well, that's Dr. What do they call him?
McHottie, McSeamy, McDreamy
Dr.
from
McDreamy.
Grey's Anatomy. Yeah.
hmm
So,
Yeah.
anyways, I started watching ER again just because I couldn't get enough
Yeah.
of The Pit. So there you go. All right, let's do some thank yous because we got a lot of donations today before the Mother's Day. So thank you, you guys. Louise, thank you for the $5 donation and the reaction to Drunk Hero. Cindy with the $6.50 donation. Happy birthday, Cindy. Go celebrate yourself. A happy birthday. Mars with a $20 donation. And thank you for being here live on the show. Vicky with a $10 donation and a happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And another $5 donation from Louise. Another $5 donation from Louise. And another $5 from
He's
Louise.
taking care of us. We're not going to Palm Springs, but look at him stepping up for us. Yep.
Exactly. We'll just go to Palm Springs in our mind with the donations. You guys, thank you so much for donating.
Thank you to everyone also, not only for the super chats and super stickers, but the people who take a moment and get us via Patreon or PayPal and sign up for that monthly contribution. It really means so much. And I know things have been down a little bit, so help us keep doing this show every week. We love spending time with you and with each other. And so that's that would be a great gift.
Yes, exactly. And thank you also to our sponsor, Auntie Tabby's Island Flavor. I know some of you have been buying the sauce and you've been messaging me and you love it so much. So if you go to auntietabbys.com, it's barbecue season. Use the coupon code NickKim. It's right there on your screen. And if you use the coupon code, you get 10% off every time you order. And it's a delicious guava barbecue sauce. And also, not only do you get 10% off every time you order and a portion goes to our show, but also a portion goes to the skate park in Jamaica. And so she gives back to the community, basically. So auntietabbys.com is the place to go. Use the coupon code NickKim to get 10% off every single time you order. And tell your friends about the show because, yes, Vanessa, we are trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. We're like right there.
Thank you.
We want to get there. So please, please, please tell your friends.
Yes.
So many of you love being here every week and we love seeing you. So tell your friends to join us. And if they can't join us live, we understand. But Thursdays at 5 o'clock Pacific. It's a damn good show.
Click subscribe. Click the like button on the way out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. We will be back here next Thursday at 5 o'clock. Tell your friends. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. We appreciate you. We love you. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're oh so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're oh so awesome.
Wow. Okay.